Well, I'm sure you see the title, but I want to ask you a question before we get rocking and rolling. And that is, do you believe that everything in the universe that God has created works together? And it's important that you think about that before we get into what our subject is, which is resistance to next level goals of abundance. Resistance to next level goals of abundance. And my question for you is, do you believe that everything in the universe that God has created works together? Now, I'm asking this for a specific reason, and you'll see more so as we move along. I'm actually typing something in the comments. Say hello in the comments as you come on this morning. If you find some resistance every time you get ready to go and do your next level thing, put me in the comments. One of the things that I've done intentionally for, maybe over a decade now, is to pay attention to patterns and, things that I really notice in my entrepreneurial journey. And one of them that I've noticed is a level of resistance that occurs whenever, I go to do a new thing. And you may have noticed something similar in your own pursuit. I'm checking everything here, making sure we're good with the internet and all the things. Say hello in the comments. If this is your first time, put first timer in the comments so that I can welcome you. If you're not new around here, you've been around the rodeo a few times, you're not new in the Renew camp, put hashtag Renew. And if you're catching me on the replay, let me know you were here. I always come back to respond. Quick introduction, I'm Tanya Wilson for those of you who are new. And I'm a certified life coach and business coach. And I help women to step into their personal power, scale their businesses to six figures and beyond, and create lifestyles that they love. And so a huge part of that is doing next level things, doing things that they haven't done before, thinking thoughts that they haven't thought before, policing the thoughts that they're currently thinking so that they can shift them and move into new levels of consciousness, new levels of awareness about possibility and what's available to them. And I want to talk about this thing that occurs on that journey, especially if you aren't mindful. So whenever you have something new that you're setting out to do, or maybe it's a new income goal, maybe you're at 200K, you have this $500,000, a $500,000 goal that you want to make in your business. Maybe you're at 80K and you're like, I'm trying to get to the 150K mark. Whatever your next level goal is for your business and your life, if you pay attention, when you set out to do it, there will be a level of resistance. Now, a lot of that resistance is actually coming from inside of you, but I believe, this is my personal belief, and there are studies that align with what I believe that everything in the universe that God has created for us works together. Now, for those of you who are Bible thumpers, because I'm a believer, there's scripture that says every part, and I'm paraphrasing, of the body is fitly joined together, to serve a purpose. So the hand, the leg, the mouth, all those things. But in that reference, they're talking about the body of Christ, like everybody is joined together for one purpose. I believe that the universe that God created works the same way. For instance, I love to garden. And so when I put a seed in the ground, the seed already has things in it, but there are things in the soil that work with the seed to help it to grow, to get to its next phase. There are things in the water that help the seed to get to its next phase. I don't know how many of you remember things like decomposition and a lot of those things that we learned in grade school as it relates to science. If we think about those things and we align it with life, if you align it with your goals and things of that nature, much of it still stands true even on your entrepreneurial journey. So gardening is a big thing for me, and I get so many ahas about entrepreneurship when I'm gardening. Maybe that's weird, but my thing is, one of the gifts I believe that God has given me is the ability to see entrepreneurial strategy in a lot of things that I see. So I often get downloads in that way. And I'm also known as the growth strategist. So when I look at things, I often see how they can grow better, what causes it to grow really, really well. Those things kind of just stand out for me. And so as we're thinking about a next level goal, it's definitely in alignment with your growth. So what normally happens is you set an intention. Now, you guys, as I'm talking, I want you to place yourself in this position and walk this through your own process, and then let me know if this is kind of what happens for you as well. So you set a new goal. Maybe it's a new income goal. Maybe it's something else that you want to do in your business. Maybe you're changing roles in your business. You're moving more to a visionary space. Whatever the new thing is, take in mind that it is new. And so there are things within your own nervous system, within your own mind, that has been established as a normalcy for you. And when you set out on this new intention, you're actually doing something beyond the person that you've been being in your past. Now, in the beginning, say you set out to do that new thing and, it starts rocking and rolling, right? You're putting things in place that need to happen in order to reach that next level goal. Whatever it is that you need to do, you start the thing. You make the initial step, and it feels good, and you kind of see some traction. But then you begin to see some traction and you stop. So maybe you hit your first 5K month or 5K day, right? Maybe you hit your first 5K day and you stop. What's actually happening in that time frame is you are really going back down to your normalcy, to the normal space of being that your nervous system rests in, the normal space of being that your mindset exists on, right? So you're at that point that you normally are. That's how you kind of like got that first thing, but the continuation of it requires a different level of consciousness, awareness, and intention. I'm gonna give you guys an example. I remember maybe about 6 or 7 years ago, I had the largest amount of money to come in my hands. It was $30,000. And I remember just kind of, taking it easy. And my mom said something to me that really stuck with me. And when I began to learn more about human behavior and how we function and operate, vision and goal setting is my baby, right? And so I've done a lot of work in that area and learning like why we don't hit goals and things of that nature. But my mom said to me, it seems like when you get large sums of money, you slow down. And I heard her, but I didn't really pay it any attention. And when I want you guys to be careful when you hear the words slow down, because I don't believe you have to hustle. I believe hustling only makes you tired. But I do believe that there's a new space of being in your thoughts, in your behaviors, in your patterns that you have to get to in order to maintain that new thing or continue on or see it to the full, that new thing that you're setting out to do. And when I thought about it years later, because I had it happen again, where it's, something great happened and then I just kind of slowed down. And I realized that I had not created a new space of being, like a stable place for that to be a normalcy. Does that make sense for you guys? Right? And so you'll have this thing to happen, and you get some movement, and then you just kind of get back into your normalcy, which is what produces the normal results that you have in your life and your business. And so it's really like your normal set point, right? It's the normal space that you operate in, the normal mindset that you normally have about things. So maybe, and also, you get this new thing, or this one-time thing, or some traction in seeing the goal come to pass, and something happens. Something in life happens. It never fails. I want you guys to walk through your thing and let me know if this happens for you. And so this thing happens, and what you do in that moment is you start thinking about the adversity, and you lose focus on what you desire. So all of your thoughts are placed on what you don't want, which is that thing that happened. Now, it's not that you don't live in a real world and you don't have to take care of whatever the adversity was. But I want to ask you where your thinking is during that time. And your ability to hold your thoughts to what you desire and not what you don't desire is one of the issues that's occurring in what you have going on. It's up here. Because our thoughts control our feelings control our actions, and our actions control our results. And so, man, if I was a betting girl, I'd be willing to bet that whenever you set out to do a new thing, all types of resistance happen. So remember earlier I said that my belief is that everything in the universe operates together, like it's impacting something else. I'll use people as example. I believe that everything you do and say today is going to impact someone else. If you go put gas in your car, if you go to the bank, if you get a big win in your business, whatever, someone else is impacted as well, whether it's negatively or positively. Say you have a $10,000 day today, right? What you choose to do with that income, what you choose to do with that, someone else is going to be impacted. If you decide to get a certificate of deposit, someone at the bank has to make the deposit, all of those things. If you decide, I'm going to get that course or that program that I needed, someone else is impacted. Is this making sense? Everything that we are doing impacts someone else, either positively or negatively. So as I'm just running through my own thoughts and processing things and downloading things, and a lot of times they come to me and then I have to go back and research them and see if this download or this thought or this revelation that I have has been proven somewhere, or where is this coming from? For me, a lot of times it's the Holy Spirit, right? It's the Spirit within me downloading things that I wouldn't normally know on my own. So if you think about everything that's transpiring in the universe and the energy that God has created, because I believe everything is energy, when you go to do something different that you have not done before in your life, which achieve a new goal, achieve a new next level goal, maybe you're investing in a way that you haven't before, maybe you're starting a garden. I saw some people talking about starting a garden. I'm happy about that. Okay, maybe it's a new exercise regimen, whatever that thing is, there is energy that's changing somewhere. And so this new thing that you're setting out to do, I believe, this is my belief, I'm going to research it, right? I'm throwing this out here, right? But I believe that there are things in the universe that God has created that has to shift around when you begin to respond and move and have your being differently. And this is why I often say that although you may not see it, everything in God's universe is working towards your good. So now I'm going to do this for the Bible thumpers, right? So there's a passage that I was listening to recently that was talking about, I think it was Jacob, and how he was fighting. He was like, I'm not going to let you go until you bless me. And there were other, because you guys know that we're spirit inside a body, with a soul inside a body. So there are other entities that were fighting him, right, for the blessing. Like he's tugging and pulling to get his blessing. So I believe that there are things that have to transpire behind the scenes, right? Because we are spirit beings, because we, of the world space that we live in, I believe that there are things that have to transpire behind the scenes that we can't see with our physical eyes, that are getting shifted around as we set out to do new things. And what we have to do is take authority over it by continuing on into the thing. So you'll need, what's going to impact it all is your intentions, your willingness, your sacrifice, and your being. If you continue to go back to the way that you continue to do things before, you do not develop the capacity or the way of being to be the person that can actually consistently have that next thing that you desire. So you have unique patterns. For instance, I may set out to do something, and then you may set out to do the same thing, and our journey may be different, right? We may get to the end goal, but our journey in itself may be different because of our unique patterns, because of our unique behaviors, because of our nervous system, because of how we handle things. And so if you continue to stop when you're setting out to do something new because something came up, I'm not saying you don't need moments to process what is happening, but if you're shifting your focus to the negative thing that happens, then of course it's just going to continue to produce negative results. So if you don't, you're waiting for like the compound effect of what you're doing. You're waiting for momentum to happen in your process that never happens because you continue to stop. Because when you get to that new next level of thing that you need to do, everything in your nervous system, that old man, that old mindset is responding, is causing a level of resistance to you evolving, to your evolution, to you reaching this goal that you have. So you guys have heard me talk about a money ceiling before. This is the amount of money that you normally make, and when you get to that amount, something kind of happens, and if you get above that amount, something kind of happens, and you kind of tumble back down. But you also have a money floor, right? And that's the level of discomfort you receive when your bank account gets to a certain level. And so maybe yours has been 0, or maybe it's been 1,000 or 10 or whatever, but everybody has these comfort zones of what they will allow themselves to fall back down to. This morning, I suggest that you raise your floor, right? Raise your money floor. And what that's going to do when you say, oh, when I get to $30,000 in my account, I'm uncomfortable. When I get to $100,000 in my account, I'm uncomfortable. And what that does is it creates a new comfort zone for you that's not so low. I'm talking good here. And then you have to recognize what your money ceiling is. What is that amount that you get to, and you may get above it and then you pummel back down to it. There are some things that you need to do and become. There are thought processes that you need to have, that you need to develop in order to get to a new set place, in order to move past the resistance. It's almost as if you're being tested to see if what you said you desire, you really desire. I hope this is making sense. Because wherever your focus is, like when that resistance comes, if you allow that to be your focus and say, oh, this is a sign, I just need to chill for a minute. And I'm not talking about hustling hard, guys. I'm just talking about continuing to do the next thing that you need to do. And if you are thinking from an abundant space, your mind will create easier ways for you to do it. But if you are thinking from the space of resistance, you even thinking about continuing on will feel extremely hard because you're using your own mind. Now, if you know that this is a cycle for you, a pattern for you, and something that you want to overcome, something that you want new tools to be able to identify your being, your space of being, and your thinking and your thoughts and how you're operating, and if you're resting in resistance, then yes, most of the ways that you attempt to do things will be the hard way. Right? And then it's not going to make sense in your old mind. Excuse me. And you are going to stop. Right? But when you learn new ways of abundant thinking, new ways of shifting your mind and shifting your being, who you're being, then you will still create new ways of doing things, but it will be from an abundant space, less your effort. If that's you, if this is registering to you, then what is going to help you in this season is shifting things in your mind. My She Prospers 30-day mastermind is the ultimate space for you to do that. So, number one, as soon as you join, you will begin 30 days of activities. You get them every day in an email. This is to help you with the compound effect. This is to help build you to a space. Second of all, on the 16th, we will begin live coaching for She Prospers. It's about mindset, abundance, positioning yourself to manifest what you desire at your next level. And we'll do that every week for 4 weeks. We'll coach live. You'll also receive trainings that you can work on before our coaching sessions, right? And this is an opportunity for awareness for where your thoughts currently are, if that is the thing, which most of the times I can find a space of your thinking that's keeping you from your next level. And so if you recognize that that is you, I invite you to join us for the She Prospers 30-day mastermind. It will change your entire life. Now, the thing about this is once you've taken this and you've learned the tools, and the biggest part is the accountability over those 30 days as you're moving through to that next level, as you're moving past those resistant moments that will occur, they will happen, right? As you're setting a new set place, as you're shifting your nervous system, as you're developing new patterns, you have the accountability, which is what's missing for most people who, are doing maybe their affirmations and, personal things. This is for those that just really want to go to the next level and they want to collapse time. It's that simple, right? Because you can do certain things and get results over a longer extended amount of time, or you can collapse time. And I want to help you to do that. But for today, I want you to think about what I shared, the patterns that happen when you're setting out to do new goals. And let me know, have you noticed that there's a level of resistance that occurs? For those of you who are ready to join us, you want to collapse time in your process because you have to change who you're being. If not, you always go back to the old man, right? And this is simply a space of bringing you to a new level of consciousness about your journey, about what you're thinking through the process, and then giving you the accountability and the tools to be able to collapse time on what it is that you're setting out to do, that next level goal that you are desiring. The link is in the comments. For those of you who'd like to join us in collapsing time over these next 30 days, maybe you see that in the first quarter, you didn't quite hit the goals that you desired to hit, and you want to collapse time on how it transpires in this next quarter. I invite you to join us. Pay attention to the resistance and what you're thinking and how you're being whenever maybe some adversity shows up when you set out to do a new goal. Do you kind of go back and start